Hi guys, thanks for coming. The first thing I'll do is I'll lay out one of the images that we're going to be pasting up so you can actually just see what we do. If a couple of people want to come and help me, come on down. Maybe like 2 or 3 people. So you just want to hold that end.
So this is the piece that's going up today?
No, this is a different sketch. If you want to drop that right to the side. And then grab that one. So I might need a, do you want to grab one as well? Thanks. And we'll just get that. Does someone want to read out? You're closest.
That's everything. The Nazwa Girls' School in Bangladesh, Province, remote Shangan district. Due to the district's lack of agricultural land, its proximity to the Tajik city of Korov and its relative high number of education institutions, Shanganis have, for 2 decades now, been producing teachers doing much of the educating, not only in their province of Badashan, but across all of northern Afghanistan. During the Taliban years, late 90s, in the neighbouring province of Takhar, it is said that teachers continued to teach for several years without pay, photo by Andrew.
Yeah, so Andrew Quilty is an Australian photographer from the Oculi collective, which Tamara Voninski is the founder of. So basically, we can actually, if we maybe put things on it so it can stay great. I'll give you a couple of things. Oh, thanks guys. So so basically, Dysturb started by Pierre Turchman and Benjamin Garrett. These guys are photojournalists and they work for various news publications and found themselves unemployed, a little bit frustrated with the fact that they'd just come back from some pretty large-scale photojournalism jobs. So they go out on a few months shooting somewhere, and then they came back and they were kind of a bit disheartened at the fact that their work was seen and only little bits of their work and mainly in sort of limited publications. So they took it to themselves they had a friend who has an architect plan printer, and they very inexpensively started printing their work out. And they just started with a few around Paris and literally just with, some wheat glue, wheat paste, started pasting them up around the streets. And they had no idea really quite, the response was quite big quite quickly, which basically made them do it more and more until it sort of went viral. They realised people were using the hashtag Dysturb on Instagram, on Twitter, it was on Facebook, so it just really sort of hit off. And it all sort of came out of the desire to kind of, engage with people more, because they found that other publications weren't really doing that for them. So then when they travel on different assignments, they paste in different places all over the world. There's currently 30 different countries, but they've mainly recently done big campaigns in Paris and in New York, and then we brought them to Melbourne to do a campaign this year. Yeah, so that's a bit of a sort of description of what they do. It was initially their own work, but then they found they're quite sort of, it's a very tight-knit community, the photojournalism community around the world. So they started actually essentially curating selected images that they thought needed to be seen on the streets. When they curate images as well, they're very, very selective. Even though it comes across as quite a sort of, controversial thing, putting these things out on the street. They don't actually necessarily use imagery. This is a perfect example that is actually, it's not going to be a dead body, a gory kind of image that makes you go, whoa. It might be controversial in the content or the nature, but not in the actual image. So they're very selective with the imagery, and they are selective with the photojournalists that they choose to show. So here are some images on the screen of what we did in Melbourne. So this image here is in North Melbourne. So basically, July 16, 2014, Gaza. Family and relatives of 4 boys killed on the beach in Gaza mourn in front of the family house before the funerals of the 4 boys. 4 Palestinian boys have been killed by Israeli shelling while they were playing next to a fisherman's house on the beach. 4 other kids have also been wounded, and that's by Philippe de Courpiquet. He's probably not how to pronounce it. So we did 65 around Melbourne. How we got involved a little bit, and we'll go into that a little bit more later, but basically Isabella Vatsikopoulos and myself, we run a gallery in Footscray that is for socially aware photographers, so photojournalism, documentary. And we got involved through Photobook Melbourne. We kind of convinced them to bring them over, and then they did a residency at the gallery. So we went around with them and did 65 paste-ups all over inner city Melbourne. And that was actually in front of Neospace Gallery, which Sarah Pannell had an exhibition at. So that was a live paste-up that everyone was watching. This one was this one got a bit of exposure actually. It was next to, in Balaclava, next to quite a popular cafe. I'll read out, where is it? So June 2011, Belgium, a prisoner tells the photographer about his birthplace in Morocco while smoking a joint in his cell. And that's by Sebastian van Maligen. This one was in South Yarra. So Isabel is an alcoholic since the age of 17, or rather she has alcohol problems, she prefers to say. She lives with RSA and for 90 euros more her daughter Amanda, 16 years. She's raising her 16-year-old daughter since her twin sons Sebastian and Jerome, 33, left at home. And that's by But there's a view there. That was in Footscray. That one got taken down really quickly. I mean, the nature of these campaigns is that obviously they're really cheap. They're architect plan prints. We're putting them on the street, so they do get a little bit destroyed. People. This one actually is still up in Footscray, but the streets have sort of taken over it a bit. You can see tags on the side. Those tags have moved on to the paste up a bit more now. People rip stuff off, but yeah,
that's the nature of the game.
Exactly. What we also do, so I mean, a big thing with Dysturb is that it's not just about putting images on the street and educating people, but it's also involving the community, and this is something that I think all of our projects are sort of also very much about. What we do every month at McKinnon High School is we do a paste up. We get year 10s, year 11s involved in it. We get them. The paste ups are written in French, and the French students come and translate it, so it's a big process to get it translated to work out where exactly from which part of the world it's from, the issue, the research it all. And I mean, this one we had about 150 students throughout the course of the afternoon come and translate, read, help paste it up, and talk about the issues and engage with it. They love it. Well, I think they more love it because, like we're taking it out of class.
Yeah. Boring maths.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is it the same space each time?
Yeah, so this is actually right in the middle of the school. The principal is really, really cool. She's amazing. And a couple of parents have complained, and yet they're still doing it, which is great. And I think that's also the thing that backs the principal up is the fact that none of the images are actually, gory or controversial. They describe themselves as messengers, basically, to spread information, rather than necessarily, and this is a reason that they only show, we were discussing this before, they actually, for example, in Australia, they won't show an Australian image. They might show an image that was shot in Australia somewhere else in the world, but not here. And that's partly to do with not getting involved in the country's politics, instead engaging different people all over the world with one another and trying to make more of a global dialogue about news to bring us together. Yeah, so there's a few. We also did a big campaign at RMIT on the basketball courts. And I mean, the nature of the game as well is that, you know, sometimes there are problems with where the pay stubs are. We didn't have many, we put 65 up and we had 2 problems. So people respond remarkably well to it. And that's the only reason it's been going and going and going. They, you know, started it just because they needed an outlet for their work, and now it's become, they've, you know, essentially shifted the market a bit.
Can I elaborate on that?
Yeah.
I think what's also important is that in Dysturb don't run away. Like their main idea is not to run away. They don't see what they're doing as illegal, so they're willing to talk to police or enforcement who come to talk about why it's up. And I think that that's really important because most conversations or any confrontation has kind of been resolved through dialogue. And so I think that that's a really, that's something to think about as well. Like if you're willing to stand up for what you're doing, then people will listen, even if it is against the law.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Can I ask, the RMIT space, is that a permanent?
we are actually organising a space at RMIT that will be permanent. Unfortunately, this one wasn't because there's someone's artwork behind it. So
I didn't realise there was a mural behind it.
there was a problem with the management permission and everything. But anyway, it's all resolved.
We have permission on.
Is there any paint behind it? I mean, this was a really one of the best days we had because so many people at this basketball court were coming up and talking to us. And even when there was controversy about having to take them down, some of the students were coming up and being like, no, this is important. And people from all over the world, you know, a lot of exchange students were there and they could relate to some of the images and knew more about them than I did, for example, which was exactly what, you know, Dysturb sort of aims to do.
And I think that when you're talking about starting a dialogue, I think that it is just about the time frame that where they're pasting up allows people to come and ask questions, and I think that that creates a dialogue in itself, not just amongst the people who are watching, but also with us, the people who are doing it.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
I mean, one of the reasons that sort of Bella and I started a gallery in Footscray is because we wanted to create a space that was quite engaging with the community. It's a sort of a bit of a rougher community. We enjoy that. And we invite people to come in all the time. Every time we were preparing pay stubs, we put a gallery open sign. People would come in, people would help, people would talk about it. And so, yeah, that's why we meshed it quite well. What else? Anyone got any questions about what these guys do?
Yeah. You mentioned there was an image before that you had to take down. Why was that? I'm sorry, I couldn't quite see what the image was of.
Which one?
Quite a few slides back, sorry.
Outside the restaurant. The
Yarraville, maybe?
Sorry, I can't remember exactly which one.
so we didn't take that down, it got taken down by Subway.
Oh, right, okay. Thought it was a controversial issue.
No, and that's another thing everywhere we went, Pierre Turchman, he's really into pasting in certain areas with certain issues. So everywhere we went, he would ask about the demographic of this area, what kind of cultures are living here. And it wouldn't be to, you know, try and like cause some sort of a debate. It was to actually put images up that could relate to the area and then people could discuss. Yeah, we haven't, I mean, no one's been necessarily offended by any of the images. Well, maybe, but when we were putting them up, no one was offended by them. It was always a problem of you know, like that guy's artwork was behind it, for example. So far, I mean, it's been, in Australia, they've had problems in other parts of the world. But yeah. So that's the very first one. And this photographer is Vatsikopoulos. He actually did you should all look at Vatsikopoulos up. He did a beautiful series on Nauru, that not many people have seen. So you got the Guardian to sponsor the visa, the $8,000 visa to go to Nauru, and he did a really beautiful series of exactly what's going on there. And there's some of the only images of Nauru and the people in there, so check it out. So this is in New York.
And that
That's
photograph
actually-
was by Ashley Gilbertson, another Australian.
Yeah.
We throw over to Helen.
Yeah.
Let a little in conversation,
Yeah.
and then for about 10 minutes, and then we'll
Yeah.
throw over to the
Sure,
audience.
sure. So I'm interested, Madelena, there's a Chinese proverb, a picture is worth 10,000 words. I think in Anglosphere it's a picture's worth 1,000 words. But so it's the images that we're talking about and their power. But I just want to ask you about that word disturb, because there's an intent there. At a time when we have so much media, where we have digital natives, or we have social media, we have Twitter, we're not getting through, are we? That we actually have to go back and almost get back to the town crier and actually post these in our town squares. So what do you think is happening there? And disturb the word itself. You want some sort of effect, don't you?
Well, I think it's important to say that, Dysturb and the reason that they, called it that was because they wanted to create dialogue and create discussion. They didn't necessarily want to sort of fight with publications because that's where they earn their money from, But it was necessary, and they just saw it blatantly that the street was a place for physical work to be seen and not necessarily flicked through like you do in social media and like you do when you're looking on even when you look up blood stocking, for example, you look through Nauru images, a lot of people just go next. Whereas when it's large scale like this, it's compelling, you feel like you're there as well. So I guess in a way that kind of disturbs you and that stops you and it makes you actually breathe a little bit.
I think it's also more inclusive of a larger audience that aren't on Twitter, that aren't on Instagram, and that don't have tablets. I think that that's important as well for old people who hang out in malls, and not the malls, but like street malls, to be able to see these kind of things and talk amongst each other about it.
The people who've been left out.
Yeah, who aren't tech savvy. Yeah, that's it.
But in this day and age, it takes a lot for an image to make someone stop and look twice. But also, if someone's walking down the street in a public space, it's unexpected, it's interesting, it's often very captivating. But it's a time when you put the phone down or the tablet down, or you're not behind your laptop, you're actually looking out at the world. So I think it's a great venue for showing.
And it's interesting that you're posting stories, images from the other side of the world, not necessarily what's around us. That's quite interesting because, again, we have so much media out there. We can turn on our TV and see people starving, tortured in front of us, but we're suffering from compassion fatigue. Is this a way of combating that sort of fatigue? Yeah, I've seen these images before, I've seen these women.
Well, I think that's definitely in the way that a lot of the photographers will use their tools of their trade. For example, when I put this image right here, it's not making you feel guilty. It's not making you feel like, oh, I gotta look away from that. It actually intrigues you and engages with you. And I think that is actually what our role is as photographers, as communicators. We need to work quite hard to engage with people as opposed to, making people come to us.
I think that people who are working on long-term projects see hopeful images like this all the time, but that's not what's selling newspapers necessarily. And so for them to have this outlet to show hopeful and inspiring images that aren't necessarily bad guy, good guy, blah, blah, right and left, I think that that's really important because it kind of shows you that there is a bigger picture. And these people are working towards that as well.
But that also leads to, one of the overriding problems in our society in that the media is shrinking. The outlets for photojournalism are shrinking. And so as photographers, one of the things that Occupy, the collective that I founded in Australia, and Dysturb and other groups are doing is trying to create our own outlets to get the work out there.
Changing the business model. Well, can you just elaborate a little bit on what is facing photographers today? I know that a lot of photographers have lost their jobs in newspapers. Now I think the journalists have to be able to write and take photos and take video and everything else in between. What are you feeling about what's happening to, obviously, a profession that you love and is very important?
Well, I mean, worldwide, over the last 10 years, we've seen a huge shrinking in the media, newspapers and magazines, and a lot of outlets actually closing down. And here in Australia, that's sadly definitely the case. And I was a victim of that myself nearly 3 years ago, and losing my job in the media role. However,
user-generated content also as well. You know, we ask the audience, send us your photos. They might just be in the right place at the right time, and that sort of eats into what you've spent a lifetime setting up. So
I mean, what's been happening with a lot of the media roles shutting down, and freelance opportunities becoming almost null and void, that not only are there no outlets, but photographers are able to earn income in many cases. And in terms of education, there are a lot of people out there shooting pictures on their smartphones, but do they know the basic rules of journalism? Do they know how to actually write a caption? Do they know about ethics and legalities? Most of the answer is no, particularly in Australia. I can tell you, no. There is so much experience, particularly in this country, and at the moment, very few outlets to get real work out there, particularly observed moments, not the set up pictures of the contrived sort of imagery or the commercial images, but real moments of real life. And I think this is part of what Dysturb is trying to do, is to get that work out there, to get it into a really public space, to make people stop and look twice and go, wow, I want to know more. And then also using social media and hashtags to even broaden our space.
That's very true what you say. I mean, anyone with a smartphone these days calls themselves a journalist. And here at UTS, where we're trying to teach people how to do journalism, it's incredibly frustrating. But taking on what you've just said there, the founders of Dysturb had said in one of the early articles, the news media cycle now is so fast, it's so fast. So what are we going to miss out on because it's so fast? You know, we're not going to be reading those really in-depth articles on here, and not even on here, or seeing something at this scale. So what is lost when we get faster and faster? Oh, anyone.
Well, even being able to take a breather and really take in exactly what's going on and research it further. I mean, one of the big things that you do when you start photographing a project is you research every element about it, and then you get quite attached. And when only an element of that is shown, that gets lost. You know, that story, exactly what's happened there. And, well, it doesn't really get lost in the actual event because it's probably still going.
Yeah.
And so
It's replaced
there's a
with something
disconnect.
else.
But also, I think one of the things that gets lost is long-form journalism. And if you look at the visual side of that, photojournalism and the long-term projects, where do we find them?
I
Where
agree,
do
but I think that there still is a market for long-term journalism, and you'll see like the Saturday paper is a really good example of that, where they know that there's that gap and they're trying to fill it because people are tired of flicking through like articles that have been written in a day.
But that's also where your organization comes into play, the Asia Pacific Photo Book Archive, and people self-publishing or publishing their photo books or their long-term projects.
Yeah, I think that because there is a lack of platforms, it's just a challenge for people to make their own ways. And the Asia Pacific Photo Book Archive, which is something that I'm involved in, is a physical library for photo books that have been self-published or handmade or short runs, but the general rule is just that the topics have to be from Asia Pacific region or the photographers are from Asia Pacific region, because we saw that there was a gap in exposure for those photographers.
Is something like this also border on activism as well? Talking about journalism, photojournalism, and just taking it a little bit further to activism, in a sense.
That's something that, there's a line there, and they're very careful in, doing the captions as well before everything, every story is listed, the photography is listed, the date, it's all fact. So really it's not it's actually not activism because it's showing a story,
Yeah. But a story that maybe a lot of people would not know around here because
they don't see
that
it.
story would not make it into their newspaper or their
But see, we don't see it as activism because it's just, showing something. But then it is interesting because it does get seen as that. And that in itself is, something we can look at. Like, why is this controversial, I think, pasting it up illegally is probably the part where people feel it's activism.
Right.
And then that is really just because, we need outlets for photojournalism.
Oh, sure.
So,
activism is a positive thing,
not
as a negative thing. So how do you get the councils, the owners of the walls on side? Because if you had them on side, this would be just amazing.
We want them on side. I mean,
have you approached them? Have you got a list of them?
Yeah, Melbourne City Council are very, very positive, and we're going to be doing some projects with them, finding some permanent spaces. There's also a lot of photojournalists they're making podcasts at the moment, so people can listen on the app. Basically, if you look up the Dysturb.com in different cities in the world, a map will come up with and pin drop everywhere there are Dysturb images. So in a few days' time, there's going to be 4 in Sydney that you'll be able to see. And then hopefully down the track, we'll also have photojournalists actually, speaking, and you can listen on the app about the story, a bit more about that. Initial question.
No. It's about activism, but I think that this goes further than that. Though it's not just one act; it spurs on another act and finding out more information, which is why the podcasts are really cool, and also the crossover between viral or this Instagram kind of hashtag situations going on and just general really old school communication, which is posted. It's perfect.
And storytelling.
Yeah.
Storytelling is very, very powerful tool. They're doing scientific research on it at the moment in terms of that being an agent for change and allowing people to empathise with this story. I mean, you couldn't get closer to these faces and feel what they're going through. So are there some examples where Dysturb has made real impact in some of its campaigns or some of its work?
I mean, Dysturb's quite new, it's only a year old, so not really, not yet. I mean, not that I've heard of yet. Hopefully.
It's a slow burn.
I think there's a lot of research that goes into which images, making sure it's captioned, making sure where it goes up, and in many cases obtaining the permission for it. And obviously in Sydney, we're going to be working towards more. And obviously if we have permission from councils or schools or universities or galleries or whatever, or high traffic areas, perfect.
Yeah.
So let's get to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and one of the biggest aims for Dysturb is that, say, if Vladimir Putin tomorrow decided to make some ridiculous new law, which could happen, then they know that they've got 10 teams around the world to send a paste up that will cost them no money. They can send it the next day, and we can put it up all around the world. So really, that's a really powerful idea at the end of the day. So if we had a permanent space in Sydney and Melbourne, and we could do that really quickly, then that would create some change.
Mm-hmm. The City of Sydney, I'm sure they would be very interested in hearing from you, because there's a lot of areas in Paddington that not much happening there, and a lot of wall space that they own. This would be brilliant.
That's what I mean. It's
bringing
about,
foot traffic as well.
It's not just it's about exciting the boring walls that are out there, I think, as well. and something that's not graffiti and not just tags. Like that is a different culture that has its own kind of legitimacy within that. But I mean, this kind of branches out to more than just graffiti artists, which is important.
And when you mentioned the City of Sydney, I mean, several of the Oculite photographers, Andrew Quilty, this is his image, Dean Sewell, George, he'll be teaching the workshop with us tomorrow, and several others. They saw a spot along Elizabeth Street, and they measured it out. They created boards, chose photographs. They put it up as a gallery, and I believe within a week or within a few days, the City of Sydney not only sanctioned it, but gave them money to do it for the following year. So this has already been happening, but in a very different way. More Australian images, that documentary, between documentary and art. So, and this is the sort of work that our group has been doing, like whether it's projections on buildings, whether it's the Elizabeth Street Gallery. I think there was some paste-ups outside the Louis Vuitton store as a gallery. It was taken down definitely within 48 hours, maybe even 2 hours. I don't know. So there's been a little bit of that happening. Some of it sanctioned, some of it not. But so far, we've had they've had some very good luck. But that's also through making contacts in the media, getting the word out there, getting stories, and sort of in the way they approached it, and not just, here we go, let's do this, and it's sort of a lot of people. There's a lot of thought that goes into all of this. A lot of thought, a lot of research, and
you've got to be really persistent to ensure that next to every billboard there's something like this, you know.
Well, I guess that's the problem. The City of Sydney might say, I could charge people a lot of money to put something up as big as this.
Instead of pay us to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. But maybe
just a bit of swindling.
Remember the Benetton campaigns? They would have used something like this. Maybe you can partner up with some of those really big organisations, and Anyway.
You've got to have a permanent space in UTS, for instance.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Well, RMIT are doing it, McKinnon High School are doing it, it's a monthly based up, so
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Okay. We're about to do the paste up in the foyer.
Yeah.
Exciting. At Dysturb official is the hashtag. The official, hence the word Dysturb official, I guess. We will have, after the paste up, we'll have drinks at Penny Lane, which is, if you know the cheese grater building, the building and IT building, Broadway. It's the bar that's sort of at the base of that. And you can access it from Broadway, or you can go in between the two buildings that are there. There's a laneway there, and the bar's at the end of the laneway. And so yeah, we'll make
So
it
it's
do that.
hashtag Dysturb on Instagram.
Oh, and for those who came late, the workshop is tomorrow. I think it's 10 till 4 at the ACP upstairs.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome, is the word.
So just in case, like the Australian Centre for Photography based in Paddington.
Yeah, near Metro Street.
Have an RCP, can you turn up? I didn't know about it.
So yeah, it's fine, you can book online. It's unfortunately not a free workshop, but we've got 4 amazing tutors taking part. And then we'll finish in a pace off again.
And just before we move out, I'd like to thank Isabella, Tamara, Helen, and Madelena for